Hey everybody, welcome back to Michael Pictures, the channel that is dedicated to helping you become a better animator. Now in this special course preview, I'm going to show you guys my latest course, How to Animate Dialogue for Beginners. This course is perfect for any animator who struggles with animating believable dialogue. Now in this course preview, you will get to see how to use the Preston Blair lip sync chart. You'll learn how to use syllable timing charts and a whole lot of things that will help you improve your animation skills when it comes to animating dialogue. Now since this course preview is a little bit long, I've decided to create some timestamps below in the description so that way you can skip to the sections that you like. Now with that said, let's check out the course preview. Animating dialogue is an important part of being a good character animator. But if you don't know the fundamentals of animating dialogue, it can be pretty hard. So guess what? I've created a simple, practical, step-by-step guide that will show you how to animate dialogue for any character that you'd like. Let's begin this awesome tutorial. Hey everybody, welcome to Michael Pictures, the channel that is dedicated to helping you become a better animator. Now, if you're watching this course, that means you've signed up to my email list. And as a way of saying thank you, I am going to show you how to animate dialogue. Now, the first thing that you should have done before you even started this video is to download the lip sync animation pack. So you'll need to go and download it before you continue with this tutorial. After you finish downloading it, you will need to unzip the folder and open up the timing chart. Now, this timing chart contains all the mouth shapes that you'll ever need in order to animate any piece of dialogue. We're going to review it first, and then after we finish looking at the chart, I'm going to show you I'm going to let you hear the actual dialogue that we're going to animate. All right, let's begin. Now, what you see right here are all the mouth shapes. And we're going to start off with the vowels and then the consonants. So let me zoom in right now. Now, the first mouth shape that you see is the ah sound. So imagine if you're saying the word apple, apple. You will notice that the top teeth show, but the bottom teeth are hidden. So the top teeth and the tongue will show when you say like the word ah, like in apple. Same thing applies for ice, ice. That's the same thing that happens. You will see the front teeth, the top teeth, and the tongue, but you will not see the bottom teeth. Now, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the E sound. So if you say the word egg, egg, when you do that, you will see both the top and bottom teeth and a little bit of the tongue. Now, the next word you see is O, O. So if you say the word open, you will notice that you won't see any of the teeth. All you will see is just the tongue. So keep that in mind when you say the word open. Now, this one is oo, oo. Now, the word that I'm thinking of that has that oo sound is when you say the word gorillas, go, oh. That will have that U shape, mouth shape. If we zoom in into the mouth shape, you'll notice it's kind of a little bit weird. It's basically this shape right here. That's how you'll make sure that when the character says, like, let's say a word like gorillas, it looks like he's saying the word goo, okay? Now let's head over to the consonant sides. Now for C, D, G, K, N, R, S, Y, Z, it always starts off with the teeth clenched. So let's say cat, dog, knife, rat, sat. These are simply some of the words that use this mouth shape. Now, what I usually recommend is that you should pronounce the words that you're animating to, okay? That way you'll be able to accurately know which mouth shape should you be picking for your animation. That's just a super tip to make sure that you're doing this the right way. Now you have the W and Q sound. Now whenever you say the words like water, quote, your mouth shape right here will be very tiny. Now the next one I want to review is the M, B, and P sound. Now if you say the word mat, bat, pat, your mouth will be fully closed. You won't see any of the teeth. You won't see any of the tongue either. Now the next one is the sound. So if you say the word like, love, the tongue will touch the top of your mouth and you will not see the bottom row of your teeth. Now the next one is the V and F sound. So say the word faith, vase. Did you notice what happened to my teeth? My teeth were biting the bottom of my lip. Those are simply some of the words that use this particular mouth shape. Now the last one that we have to do is the sound. You're basically going to use this word or this mouth shape when you say those, them, these, that. And that pretty much covers all of the mouth shapes that you'll ever need to animate dialogue. Now in the next section, we're going to listen to a piece of dialogue that we're going to animate to, and I'm going to show you how to use this chart to actually create some thumbnails, which is going to help you to actually complete the animation for this course. Okay? Let's continue. Okay, so in the previous section, I showed you the lip sync mouth chart. Now we're going to apply that mouth chart for this animation. So we're going to start off by listening to the audio track. Then after we listen to it a few times, we're going to basically turn that audio that you're hearing into mouth shapes, which we're going to use for our animation. So let's listen to the audio track.
Where are the gorillas? Where are the gorillas?
Now that you've heard the audio track, you'll quickly notice that that is Clayton from the movie Tarzan, where he tells Tarzan, where are the gorillas? Okay? Now what we're going to do is we want to create our own thumbnails based on this dialogue. So I'll need you to open up your animation pack and pull up the actual mouth thumbnail chart. It'll look something like this. Now when you pull it up, we're going to listen to the audio track and I'm going to show you how to draw mouth thumbnails. This is something that is going to be very helpful because you will have all the mouth shapes that you need in order to animate your piece of dialogue. Now, the way I approach animating dialogue is to first focus on each single word. Now, for example, in the sentence, where are the gorillas? I chose to focus on the word where. Now, when I say the word where, I'm making two distinct mouth shapes. So what I did is I put the two areas right over here, the WH and the ERE, okay? Now for the WH, to pronounce that small section, you have to say ooh, ooh. And you'll notice that my mouth shape will be very small. Now once I make that mouth shape, I look at my chart and see which one does it match with. It matches with this W and Q mouth shape. So I simply draw it on my chart. Then I say the word again. Where. That is the E sound. So I look at my chart and I see, oh yeah, we have the E sound. Now remember, with the E sound, you have to draw it in such a way where you show the top and bottom of your teeth and a little bit of the tongue. So I'm going to draw it right now. Now we're going to move to the next word, which is R. Now for this one, there's the obvious ah sound, which is this one right here. So I'm going to draw that right now. Then there's the R. R. When I did this, you'll notice that I put the E mouth shape instead of the R mouth shape. I made a mistake, but later on in the video, you'll see me come back and fix this problem, okay? So keep in mind that the RE, this one in particular, needs to be fixed. Okay, so the next word we're going to focus on is the. The word has two mouth shapes. The TH, which is going to be this one right here at the bottom. So we're going to draw it. Now in the TH mouth shape, you will have to draw the top and bottom teeth squeezing the tongue that is sticking out. Just like this. Now, the is obviously the E mouth shape. So we're going to basically draw the mouth and make sure that you draw the top, the bottom teeth, and a little bit of the tongue. Now the next thing we're going to go to is to basically say the word gorillas. So let's start off with go, go. Notice out of all the mouth shapes, the one that best fits the word go is this one right here. So we're obviously going to draw it. Now this is like a weird mouth shape. You won't see the top or the bottom teeth. You only see a little bit of the tongue. And it has that weird mouth shape to it. Okay? Now, we're going to go and say the word which is obviously the E mouth shape. So we're obviously going to draw it just like this. Now the next one is going to be las. Now when you draw the L mouth shape, which is this one right here, you will have to draw the top teeth and then a little bit of the tongue touching the top of the teeth. Now, this is how it should look like. You also notice that you won't see any of the bottom teeth whenever you're drawing the L mouth shape. Now, if you scroll down towards the bottom, we're going to deal with the last two words, the as. So the which is pretty obvious, is the mouth shape of the A mouth shape. I'm going to draw it. It's going to be basically the standard happy face, the one where you draw where the cartoon's happy. You see the top of the teeth, a little bit of the tongue, but never the bottom of the teeth. So that's the one that I did. And the S sound is S. That's the mouth shape of a character clenching their teeth. Now, as I was doing this tutorial, I did mention the RE mouth shape that I drew was actually wrong. So I'm going to have to go back and fix it by replacing the E mouth shape with this mouth shape right here where his teeth are clenched. So I'm going to go back and adjust it, make sure it's actually correct this time. And we're good. So these are all the mouth shapes. Now in the next lesson, I'm going to show you how to use the syllable timing chart. Now the syllable timing chart is going to be useful for this course because it'll show you exactly when Clayton says where are the gorillas. It'll show you exactly where you should, which frame it happens, which frame you hear that sound. Knowing that timing is really important because it'll help you to make sure that you can use these mouth shapes right here to be in sync with your audio track. So I'll see you in the next section. Alright, so in this section we're going to have to pull up the syllable timing chart. So pull it up, it'll look something like this. Now, as you can see, I'm already in my animation program. Now the way it'll work is to basically when you get the audio track, you'll need to import it into your program. Now I've already done that because you'll see this purple bar right here. It has some sound waves. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to the audio and I will make sure that I've turned on audio scrubbing. So to do that in a Toon Boom Studio 5, I will have to right click the bar. Then I'm going to click Edit Sound. Now you can see that I've enabled scrubbing, which is over here, and I've already enabled streamed as well. Now when I use this play ahead and I move it around, you'll hear the audio scrubbing. Alright, so let me test it out for you guys so you can see how it works. Okay, now that you have the idea of how this will work, the main goal is to use this scrubber to scrub through the audio and then start to write down the frame numbers where you hear where Clayton says, "Where are the gorillas?" Okay? Now let's begin. So I'm scrubbing right now, scrubbing it a little bit. Now in the word, when you say the word where, I went with trying to figure out where he says air, that air sound. So let's keep scrubbing. And after scrubbing for a little while, I kind of noticed that it happens around frame 43. So I'm going to go to my syllable chart. So I'm going to go back to Photoshop. And then we're going to zoom in. And then we're going to write frame 43. Okay. Now for the WH sound, which is like where. You notice that that is really a silent sound. Now you're going to kind of run into it a little bit where you have silent mouth shapes such as the M, the B and P sound, or even the W sound. But what you have to do is you kind of have to kind of guess where it should happen because there's no sound to kind of help you out. That's just something that I kind of noticed when I was doing this. So when I went back to Toon Boom, this is what I did. I kind of scrubbed slightly ahead of where the ERE sound happens. We obviously know that the ERE sound happens around frame 43. So kind of makes sense that the WH sound would happen a little bit ahead of the ERE sound, which happens at frame 43. So we're going to scrub it. And I'm keep scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing until I am pretty confident about it, okay? Okay. So I feel like it happens around 37. Like that is a good area to put it in. So I'm going to go back to Photoshop and I'm going to write frame 37 for the WH sound. Now you kind of get an idea of what we're going to be doing for the rest of the actual dialogue. So now that you have a good idea, let's head on to the next word, which is the R sound. So let's go back to Toon Boom and we'll just do some more scrubbing. So we're going to scrub and scrub a little bit. Let me do it one more time. Yeah. So the R sound, after scrubbing it a few times, kind of happens at frame 52. So I'm going to go back to Photoshop and then I'm going to write frame 52. So that handles the R sound. Now we need to focus on the RE or R sound, okay? So we're going to go back to Toon Boom and we're going to try to figure out where that RE sound happens. So we're going to scrub again. Okay. As I'm scrubbing, I'm kind of getting an idea. It should be happening right about now, around frame 57. So at around frame 57, it will have the R sound. Now the next word is the. So let's get over here. See, keep scrubbing a little bit. The. Okay. All right. So I think it happens at around frame 64. Now, again, the word the TH is silent. It's the or the E sound that kind of happens around frame 64. So again, I kind of have to guess when would he say the sound. So I gotta go back and see if I can be able to track it down. So right here, I know that this is the area where he says E, but let me see if I can find where he says, or possibly when he says the sound. Okay. So after kind of scrubbing and kind of guessing a little bit, I feel like the TH sound or the sound happens around frame 61. So I'm going to go back and write frame 61 right here. Now we're almost done. The last thing that we need to do is to find the timing for the word gorillas. Now we're going to go back to Toon Boom and do some more scrubbing. And after scrubbing a little bit, it's going to happen around frame 69. So when he says the word go, ooh, after scrubbing and scrubbing, I notice that it happens around frame 69. Now move it a little bit and we'll get the gorillas. Gorillas. Scrubbing again. So after scrubbing it a few times, it feels like it happened, the RI sound or the gorillas happens at frame 73. Gorilla. Okay, so after scrubbing, it feels like it happens around frame 77. So the L sound or the that sound happens at frame 77. So I'm hoping that you're kind of seeing how this kind of works. Really, you scrub and you figure out when he says the word and you just write it down. So it's pretty simple. You just need to be organized. You have to have an organized way. And you can kind of use my template as a way to kind of help you as you're doing or trying to time out a piece of dialogue. Okay? You can use this kind of as a template. Now we're going to focus on the ah sound. So when I went back to Toon Boom, I noticed that the ah sound happens at around, let's see here. So when I went back to Toon Boom, I noticed that the ah sound happens at around frame 80. So I'm going to write frame 80 down. All right. Now the last word that we need to focus on is the S sound. Now we're going to go back to Toon Boom. Then we're going to start scrubbing again. Now, as I'm scrubbing again, I'll notice that it's happening around frame 85. Okay? So I'm going to basically go back to Photoshop and write down frame 85. Now that we're done with the syllable timing chart, it is now time to head over to creating the actual key poses for our thumbnails. Now this chart that we've done right now, we're just going to hold on to it for just a little while, because later on in the course, I'll show you how to use this chart in order to help you sync your animation. All right. Now in the next section, we're now going to actually start to create the key poses that we need for our dialogue animation test. All right, let's head over to the next section. Now in this section, I'm going to start off with the thumbnails, because now we are ready to start with actually animating the dialogue. Now what you see here are Clayton's dialogue thumbnails. I've included the thumbnails already in the animation pack that you already downloaded, so just pull it up so you can follow along. Now what we're doing right now is we're going to just go over it and kind of give you an idea behind what I'm trying to plan out for this dialogue test. Now in the first thumbnail, I'm going to show Clayton in a calm pose. He's obviously looking down on Tarzan. And when he starts to say, where, you can still see his eyes are like just looking down at him. It's like, where are. When he says the word are, his eyebrows go up. Now when he transitions to when he says the, he'll dip his head down. And then when he gets to the word when he says gorillas, he will look at Tarzan in a very angry state. So that's how it'll start. He'll start off calm, say where are, and then he'll say the gorillas. I did this so that way you guys can kind of understand what we're getting into for this dialogue test. Now we're going to use our mouth chart that we created for this dialogue in order to animate the actual dialogue. Now I'm going to head over to Toon Boom, and what we're going to do is we're going to start off by drawing Clayton in a calm state. So what you see here is me drawing Clayton using a technique known as construction lines. Now the idea behind a construction line is you take a design of a character and you break it down into its most basic shape. Now as I'm drawing Clayton, you can kind of see he has the look of Clayton, but obviously it's missing the details. You can see the nose right here. You can see the chin right here. But the idea is it's a rough sketch. And I usually approach all my drawings this way. So that way I focus on creating the form correctly before I add in all the details. Now basically I've finished drawing Clayton. Now after I've done finishing drawing the construction lines for Clayton, I'm going to now go over it with my blue pencil. Now obviously when I'm using my blue pencil, I'm going to draw in the details. So we're going to start off with the nose. And in the nose, he has that kind of weird nose that he had in the movie. That's what I started off with. Then I'm drawing his eyes. After I decided to draw the eyes, I draw the rest of his face. So I decided to draw the edge of his hairline like this. Then I decided to focus on drawing his mouth design. If you remember watching the movie, he had that defined masculine jaw. So that's what I'm drawing right now. I'm including the mustache, and then I'm going to go and draw the actual chin. Now, as I'm drawing the chin, you'll see right there, it's pretty solid. Now, the next part really I'm drawing is his ears. They're kind of tiny, which I kind of found a little bit humorous because he was so big and yet had really small, tiny ears. It's kind of an interesting character design. Now, I'm basically drawing his hair, just like he had it in the movie. And really, now we've finished the face. Now it's basically time to go and draw the rest of his body. So we're obviously going to start off with that neck. Then I transitioned to drawing the scarf that he had in the movie. So I drew that over there. And really the rest is pretty basic. I'm just going to draw the collars and then the shoulder blades and basically the rest of the actual body. Now when I'm done, I'm going to actually shade in certain parts of his body. Basically in his shoulder, you see these two straps. I'm going to shade those. Then I'm obviously going to shade the hair. And voila, we have our first drawing. Now this drawing is very important because it's going to represent the volume of the character. The idea is as I'm going to start to animate, I want my drawings to have basically the same size throughout. That's why this drawing is very important to have. Now that we're done, I'm basically going to copy and paste this drawing into the next layer. Now I did this because I know when I go back to the mouth chart or even the thumbnails really, you'll see when it says where, his body is really not moving. It's really kind of in the same position. The only thing that will move is his mouth. So when I copy and paste it, I'll just simply need to delete this area, the mouth area. Now that I've finished deleting the mouth area, we're going to look at the chart that we created specifically for this dialogue test. Now, if you go back and check out the actual chart, you'll see that it has the ooh, or the W and Q mouth shape. Now, when you're drawing this, you obviously have to think of perspective. Look at Clayton right now. You can see he's in a third quarter perspective. So that mouth shape should also be in a third quarter perspective as well. Now I'm going to show you how I drew it in that 3/4 perspective. I'm going back over here. I'm drawing the mouth and you can see it's kind of in that 3/4 perspective. Then you will also notice that the lips are going to stick out. When you say the word ooh, 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 the lips protrude out. So I need to kind of show that in the drawing. Now you'll see that I drew the cheek line to kind of go forward. If you put your hand right next to your cheek line, that's what I'm going to call it, a cheek line, and do this and you say ooh, ooh, ooh. I know this is weird, but you get the point. Ooh. You'll notice that that cheek line is obviously moving forward. Now that's what I decided to do. I decided to kind of move it forward as well because it's kind of actually realistic. Now, when you say the word ooh, ooh, the chin is going to have to slightly go down. Ooh, ooh, okay? So then I'm going to lower the chin just a little bit. So I'm going to flip a little bit and make sure it looks right. That's good. Now I'm just basically adjusting the chin's design. There we go. All right. Now we have the actual face design. It's ready to go. So I'll need to make sure I label it WH because this is the WH mouth shape. Now the next one that we're going to do is the ERE mouth shape. So I'm basically going to copy this frame and then paste it to the next frame. Just like this. Okay, so like before, obviously we're going to erase the mouth area, which is over here. Then we're going to add the ERE shape. Now let's get started. So as we're drawing this out, I'm going to first draw the actual mouth opening. Then I'm going to draw the teeth. Notice how the teeth is in the 3/4 perspective. You see the top and bottom, but a little bit of the tongue. So obviously I needed to do some adjustment to the teeth to make sure that they were good, that they look nice. So that's why you'll see me kind of erasing and adjusting as I go along. But basically, that's the mouth shape. Now after drawing the mouth shape, I decided to make sure it protrudes a little bit. It just looks better when it's, protruding out. That's why you see the lips are getting, being pushed out a little bit. Then, as he's saying, where, the chin, it's starting to go down. So I obviously want to make sure that the chin is going down a little bit lower. So I'm basically adjusting the design of the mouth shape. And really, we've basically done it. So obviously, I want to go and add the ERE text. So that way I know that this is the ERE animated mouth pose, okay? Now the next one is the mouth shape. Now, quick tip about the sound. That's when the mouth will be stretching quite a lot. If you've an animation student, you've probably heard of squash and stretch. This is the time when you really need to stretch that mouth shape. So obviously the chin is going to go down, but also the sides of the chin, like right here, are going to be pushed a little bit forward. You'll see it a little bit more as we progress with the drawing. So we're going to zoom in. Now I'm going to draw the ah sound. Now remember, in the ah sound, you'll have the top teeth, the tongue, but you will not see the bottom of the teeth. And we're just flipping and adjusting a little bit. Then I'm going to now draw the lips. And this is the most important part, it's the chin. The chin is going to be way down at the bottom because this is the stretch position. So I'm going to make sure it goes at the bottom. And I'm going to draw it a little bit. And then you see the side of the chin, or the side of the chin right here, it's going to move slightly ahead. Notice that it's moving very slightly ahead. I kind of noticed this principle when I saw Clayton talk to Tarzan. I kind of noticed that this part of the chin, even though he has very large, stretchy mouth poses, especially when he's screaming at Tarzan, his back of his chin does not move as much as the front of the chin. So that's the principle I applied to this drawing. And obviously, as I was doing this whole thing, it really does make it look natural and believable. Now, another aspect to the chin design that I want to mention is obviously the cheek line. When you're saying this cheek line right here needs to be pushed forward even more because you're really stretching those face muscles. Now we've basically finished drawing the mouth shape. Now I'm gonna fill in this area right here, and then I'm gonna write ah. Now another aspect to this particular pose is that when Clayton says ah, his eyes actually go up. The eyes are gonna stretch as well. So I'm gonna basically draw the eyes. So that means I'm going to have to first erase these existing eyes. Then I'm going to basically draw the eyelids. Now the eyelids are going to be stretched up. So that means the sides need to be kind of skinny, just a little bit skinnier, okay? Going to do the same thing to the other side as well. Then I'm going to make sure I test it out to kind of see if his eyebrows are going up and down, all right? Then I'm going to shade it, and really, we are done with the mouth shape. Now, the next one is obviously going to be the RE mouth shape. Now, to create the RE drawing pose, I'm going to copy this drawing pose right here, which has the A mouth shape. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to paste it to the next frame. Now, I'm going to have to erase the mouth area, like this. And then I'm going to now basically draw the RE mouth shape. Now, according to the chart, the RE mouth shape is basically clenched. So when it says R, it's going to be clenched. Now, when you clench your teeth, there's a lot of things that happens to your facial muscles. For example, when it comes to the cheek line, when you say R, the cheek line needs to go back. So I'm going to draw this cheek line moving slightly away from the actual mouth area. Now I'm flipping it to make sure that it looks right, and it looks pretty good. Now I'm drawing the lips, obviously, and we're going to go towards the bottom of the chin. Now this is the part where I want you to pay attention to, because, as you know, in the previous frame, which is in red, we said ah. The ah position is the stretch pose. Now when you say that pose is more for a squash position. Now a few things are going to happen to the chin. Because of the principle of squash and stretch, the idea is when you squeeze, let's say, a water balloon, the sides become small, the width becomes smaller while the height becomes bigger. Now when you squash a balloon, the width becomes wider but the height becomes smaller. But the thing that is more important is the volume stays the same. Now if we apply that principle to this mouth shape, this mouth animation, this is what's going to happen to the chin. Now notice that the previous drawing, which is the ah shape, is in red, and obviously the one that we're on right now is in blue. The width became wider, but as the width became wider, the height essentially became smaller. But when you go and you start flipping it, it looks natural. See? You see how I'm flipping it and it looks good? That is the example of how you can use squash and stretch for your dialogue. It really brings more life to it. Now the last thing obviously is we want to label it RE so we know which mouth shape we've drawn so far. So let me go back and label it RE. Now after finishing the RE mouth pose, we're going to transition to the mouth pose. Now if you go back to your thumbnail chart, you'll notice that when Clayton says the, he kind of bends forward a little bit and he dips his head down. Now because I'm doing that, that means I'm going to have to redraw this entire pose. So that way it looks like he's really moving towards or he's like bending down. And we're going to start off with the construction lines. So that means I'm going to start the head by drawing a small circle. So I'm going to draw it right now. And this line right here is going to basically divide the face. And you will see that the way I've drawn him, he's going to start to look kind of like he's looking towards the ground, like this. Then I'm just really kind of adjust the design of the head just to make sure that it looks like he's really dipping his head down. So just give me a few minutes and I'm going to just, start to refine the shape a little bit. So I'm drawing the neck, I've drawn the hair, and now we have a rough image of the head shape in a tilted position. Now since he's bending down, his head is dipping down, the body needs to move towards the bottom a little bit so it looks more realistic. So you'll see right here, after I've finished drawing the collars and the scarf, I'm going to focus on the shoulder, and you'll see this is where we have the shoulder line right here in the previous frame. Now when I'm going to go and draw over it, you will see that the shoulder starts to go up a little bit. Just like this. Very small, but it's still going up. It kind of just gives that illusion that he's kind of bending down or tilting down, okay? Now I'm just drawing the rest of the collars. And really we have drawn the thumbnail sketch for this pose. Now obviously the next step is to add the details. Now I'm going to start off with drawing the nose. So I'm going to draw it over here, make sure I make the adjustments. And basically, just to give you a summary, I'm drawing the thumbnail, but I'm also really like adding the details and making sure it's good and it looks great. Now, as I'm drawing the eyes, the idea is when he's going to say I need his whole face to be in the same correct volume. So you'll see me definitely as I'm drawing this, I'm going to make a lot of adjustments so that way it looks correct. Now I've drawn the area where he has his teeth. Now when he says the idea is to make sure that the top and bottom teeth are biting the tongue. Now after designing it and making sure it looks good, I was able to get the right shape so it looks great. Then I proceeded to drawing the actual chin. Now as I'm drawing the chin, I want to make sure it has the same design, the same volume. So you'll kind of see me flip back and forth a little bit because I need to make sure that I retain that same volume. Now I'm at the point where I've really gotten the right face design. So all I have to do is to make sure that the hair and the other parts of his face look good. Now I'm going to start off with drawing the ear. Now I'm defining the hairline a little bit. And I'm just going to flip back and forth and I'm going to keep making a lot of adjustments. So let me speed through this a little bit. Okay. So you see right now, as I'm flipping back and forth, you can see he's going down, which is perfect. And really now we have the correct look for what I wanted for the shape. Now to wrap this off, I'm going to make sure that I add the blue shading to the shoulder straps and the hair. Alright, now we're done with the sound. Now we need to make sure we add the sound. If you look at our thumbnail chart, when he says you'll see the top and the bottom teeth and a little bit of the tongue. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to take this TH shape, copy it, paste it, but then we're going to erase the bottom of the mouth. Now I'm going to draw the E shape, which is pretty obvious. And when I'm drawing it, I'm just refining a little bit of the design. Once I finish drawing the design, we are now ready to proceed to the next mouth shape. Now the next mouth shape that we're going to have to draw is the GO mouth shape. Now we're going to go back to Toon Boom, and now I'm going to basically copy and paste the E frame, which is this one right here. I'm only going to copy the head. So I'm going to highlight it and then copy it and move to the next blank frame and paste it. Now, the thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt the head a little bit forward. Like you see how his head is down like this. I'm going to tilt it forward because when he says the word gorillas, he's going to move his head forward. Now I'm going to take that. Then I'm going to adjust it just a little bit. And once I've done that, I'm going to erase the bottom of his teeth. Okay. Now, according to the chart, when you say the word goo, it looks like this. So we're going to draw it. Then, as I'm drawing the go mouth shape, you'll see that I'm only going to draw the tongue. You will not see the top or the bottom of the teeth. The next thing that I'm going to work on is obviously drawing the chin. So you'll see me flipping back and forth because I want to make sure that the volume of the chin is correct. So I'm going to be flipping back and forth a little bit. And now I saw over here that I needed to bring the chin down just a little bit more. And really we're wrapping up the design. So I'm just going to speed through this section so we can get to the more interesting part of this drawing. So let me blast through it a little bit. Now we're going to focus on the eyes. If you look at your thumbnails, you'll notice that when he says the word gorillas, he will look at Tarzan in an angry stance. So we have to erase his eyes and replace them with eyes where he's actually frowning at Tarzan. So I'm going to go and start erasing. Then you will see me draw the eyes. Now, a good tip for drawing a frown is to make sure that the muscles that are connected with your eyebrows are facing downwards. So by doing it this way, it kind of looks like he's really angry at Tarzan, which adds to the performance of the character. Now that I've drawn this eye, I'm going to draw the other eye as well. And basically, we are done. Now I'm going to write the word go, because it's the go mouth shape. Now the next shape that we're going to draw is the re mouth shape, which is basically the E mouth shape. So we're going to go back and then just erase the bottom of the mouth and basically draw the E mouth shape. You're going to have the top and bottom teeth and a little bit of the tongue. Now I'm just basically wrapping up the mouth shape so that way we can proceed to the next one. So the next frame that we have to draw is the mouth shape. Now to do this, we're going to copy and paste this frame right here, and then we're going to paste it on a blank frame. Now I'm going to draw the tongue, and you'll see that it's going to touch the roof of the mouth, but you will not see the bottom of the teeth. Now I'm basically going to draw the rest of the mouth, basically the chin. So as I'm drawing it out, I'm just going to do subtle adjustments to it to make sure it's good and solid. And really, I am done with that drawing. Now I'm going to label it and say it's LL because it's the LL mouth shape. And once we're done with that, we'll need to go towards drawing the A mouth shape. Again, we're just going to copy and paste. Then we're just going to erase the mouth area. Now keep in mind, this is the ah mouth shape, so it's going to be fully stretched. So I'm going to go draw the top teeth. Then I'm going to draw a little bit of the tongue. But the most important part about this whole pose is that the chin needs to be lowered a little bit more because that's when it's fully stretched. So there we go. Now I'm just going to connect the jaw like this. And really we're done with the ah mouth shape. Now the last one is going to be the S mouth shape when he clenches his teeth. So in this drawing, basically copy and paste, and we're going to erase the bottom of the teeth, and then we're going to make sure it's clenched. Now this is obviously going to be a squash pose, which means the chin's bottom part needs to be up. It needs to be a little bit higher than the ah mouth shape. And make sure that the width of the chin is starting to increase just a little bit to kind of give the effect that he's squashing his jaw as he's clenching his teeth. You'll notice that I squeezed the eyes just a little bit. I was trying to use what is known as a moving hold, where you notice that in the previous frame he was angry, but then in this frame I'm just making him more angry. I'm kind of really exaggerating the pose just a little bit. When you play it back, it just gives it a more realistic feel, because when a person is angry, he's not going to just be angry and then just stop right there. He's going to keep, squeezing his eyebrows to, make sure that he states the point that he's going to beat up somebody, Now that I'm done with drawing that first eye, I'm going to go and adjust the second eye. Let me go and make some adjustments here. It's going to be subtle, so it's not a big deal, but I want it to look good. Okay, and we're basically done. Now I'm going to make sure that I add the S letter to it, so that way we're done. And now we basically have all our mouth shapes. Now in the next section, I'm gonna show you my secret technique to syncing mouth shapes with the dialogue that we have. So get ready, this next section is gonna be very, very awesome. Stay tuned. Alright everybody, that wraps up the course preview. In this course preview, we went through the basics such as learning how to understand the Preston Blair lip sync chart, learning how to create your own mouth thumbnail charts and syllable timing charts, and finally we wrapped it up by showing you how to create your own key poses for your dialogue scene. Now, if you want to take it to that next level, you obviously need to learn how to make sure that your mouth shapes accurately match the soundtrack that you're using for your dialogue scene. Now, to be able to learn that secret, you have to check out my course, How to Animate Dialogue for Beginners on Skillshare. Now, I have a special offer that will allow you to gain access to this course absolutely for free. Now, this offer is only limited to 150 students, which simply means at the moment of this recording, as you can see, I have 27 students already enrolled. That basically means I have 123 more free open slots for you. Now, what do you have to do to get this course absolutely for free? All you need to do is click the link in the description and enroll in the course. If you have any questions regarding this course, send me an email or send me a comment in the description below. I'll be able to answer your questions. Thank you for taking the time to check out this video, and I can't wait to see you on the next animation tutorial.